It's great to be back. It's great to be back. What's going on, Bulldogs? How y'all doing? It is wonderful to be with you here today, and as always, it is great being in the 5th District with our forever leader, Steny Hoyer. Leader, we are grateful for not just who you are, but for everything that you continue to do for each and every one of us. And it is great to be here in a university with our remarkable leader, Dr. Bro. When you look at all the things that are happening here, Bowie, these things don't happen just because, right? Progress is not inevitable. Things don't just move because we let time go by. They move because of leadership. They move because of urgency. And they move because we have leaders who move with a sense of vision and a sense of purpose. And frankly, a sense of understanding that nothing is permanent. That all progress must be fought for. And that's exactly what we have here at this amazing university. So bless you, Dr. Rowan. Thank you for your leadership. And I am also thankful to be here with our state's new and remarkable Lieutenant Governor, Aruna Miller. I tell you, working with Lieutenant Governor Miller is a joy, because this is someone who has devoted her entire life to public service. And to now watch her in this capacity fills my heart. And I'm so thankful to have her as a partner in this work. And so bless you, Aruna. Thank you for all you do. And I tell you what, y'all, how nice is it to have a partner like we have in the Biden-Harris administration here in the state of Maryland? So listen to this. This is the 3rd time in 3 weeks that either the president or the vice president has been to the state of Maryland. 3rd time in 3 weeks. We about to start charging people taxes. But how beautiful is it for the new Moore-Miller administration to know what kind of partners that we have in Washington? Yeah. Because when I say that this is going to be Maryland's decade, I'm not playing. And I also know in order for this to be Maryland's decade, we've got to have the right partners in Washington helping to forge that path. And I'm here to tell you that we do. And it is great to have the vice president back here in the state of Maryland in this moment to talk about this issue. And it's great to have the vice president here talking about things that matter so much to us, which is home ownership and affordable housing and leaving no one behind. We ran on a very clear platform that the North Star for our administration was going to be work, wages, and wealth. And we're not accepting just one or two. It's work, wages, and wealth. And if you see the way that we have moved just in these first weeks, we show that if we said it, we meant it. And when it comes to work, it means opening up pathways for people to have an opportunity to be able to support not just them and their families, but for future generations. And it's the reason why we push for things like having a service year option for all high school graduates in the bill that is a SERV Act that's in the legislature right now, and I see many legislatures who are in the House tonight, and we are urging and thankful for your support in making this happen, because this is going to create core pathways for our young people to be involved in the idea and the growth mindset of work. That we believe deeply in being able to remove the barriers that are keeping people out of the workforce. And that includes both our returning citizens who are coming back home and those who were recently incarcerated. And that also means reducing the amount of restrictions they had. For example, while we have some of the best institutions of higher education in the country here in the state of Maryland, to include where I'm standing right now, we need to, let me say it again, to include where I'm standing right now. We also need to end this myth that every single one of our young people need to attend one in order to be successful. When we're talking about wages, it means making sure that people are getting a fair wage for the work that they are doing. And it's the reason that we are pushing legislation right now to ensure not just are we accelerating the $15 minimum wage, but we're also pegging it to inflation, because gone should be the days when we have people who are working jobs, in some cases multiple jobs, and still living at or below a poverty line. And it means wealth. It means addressing the fact that right now in the state of Maryland, we have an 8-to-1 racial wealth gap. You okay? I need a thumbs up. All right, that's what I need. Glad you're all right. You know, it means addressing the fact that we have an 8-to-1 racial wealth gap here in the state of Maryland, and we all know that's not because one group is working 8 times harder. There's history to this. And it's addressing the fact that the wealth gap is not just hurting or impacting one group, it is hurting and impacting all of us. That the racial wealth gap inside this country has cost this country $16 trillion in GDP over the past 2 decades. That's not GDP of a group. That's GDP. So the fact that we have not addressed this by focusing on wealth is impacting all of us. Those days in the state of Maryland come to an end. And we're going to focus on wealth by being able to center our work and our focus on one of the things that is one of the greatest wealth creators that we have in our society, and that is home ownership. Meaning the ability to own more than you owe. Simply meaning the ability to pass something off to your children and your grandchildren besides debt. Wealth. And if we can focus on work, wages, and wealth, this will be our decade. And that's the power of today. That's the power of this work. That's the power of the Vice President being here today to celebrate and talk about the work that's happening right now in Washington and how it's benefiting the people of the state of Maryland. Because right now we know that with this rise of interest rates, which is real, that we have to take steps to ensure that low and moderate income residents, as well as first-time home buyers, can remain competitive in this market. And that this is not a moment where people are falling back. And through the Maryland Mortgage Program, which by the way is a 40-year-old program and is now a self-sustaining program, and one that is continuing to build equity and wealth inside of communities. This state helps to provide affordable mortgage loans to thousands of Marylanders every single day. And I'm very proud of the fact that in our proposed budget that we released, we have fully funded the Maryland Mortgage Program, and we will continue to do so. That this rate cut will mean the cost of borrowing will be even lower for Marylanders, and this will reduce another barrier that we continue to have for people to have the ability to be able to own homes. And just in the past 3 years, it has averaged more than $1 billion in mortgage loans annually. This last fiscal year, the state provided loans to over 3,300 home buying Marylanders. Administered through the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, and I know our Secretary of DHCD, Jake Day, is here somewhere. I want to thank him for his leadership. There he is. Hey, Secretary Day. He's doing a remarkable job already. You talk about hitting the ground running. This man's hitting the ground sprinting. And we are grateful. Because this program also offers down payment assistance as well as closing cost assistance, which have been some of the biggest barriers for people to be able to enter into home buying markets. As well, by the way, as student debt relief for first-time home buyers. This is not just an important model for Maryland, this is an important model for our entire nation. And we are proud of the fact that this funding and this support will make sure that the program doesn't only continue, but that it continues to grow. And another example that we continue to see is Homeownership Works, which is a program that is funded in our proposed budget to ensure that we are a leader in innovative solutions to make housing more affordable. And the Homeownership Works program, it fills financial gaps so that aging properties can be rehabilitated and new properties can be constructed in formerly vacant lots. There are going to be 4 pathways, the 4 Ps, that we can see how homeownership and how housing is going to help to lead the way. The first is preservation, making sure that we are dealing with some of the housing that is currently inhabitable and fixing it and making sure it is habitable for people. The second is production. For all those people who say, well, we have enough affordable housing, I'm not sure which neighborhood you're spending time in. Because we don't. And we're going to focus on producing more affordable housing. The third P is protection. And that is make sure we are doing what it takes to be able to protect our renters and those who are in their homes. And the fourth piece is pathways. How are we turning renters into owners? And people can have ownership in where they live. And the program that we're seeing right now, it's showing already initial success. Already initial success in historic Pine Street community in Cambridge on the Eastern Shore, all the way to Baltimore's Johnson Square neighborhood. This works, and we're going to invest in it. Because in order for our state to win, our state must be an ownership society. And I'm proud of the fact that the work that's happening right now with DHCD, working with partners to finance rehabilitation of vacant homes, infill construction in new homes, as well as recruit existing homeowners in need of critical home repairs, is helping to lead the way. Today is incredibly important because it symbolizes what makes our state so special. And I can tell you right now, I stand here as a prime example of what happens when people have the opportunity to use homeownership to build dreams. Where I was threatened to go away, to get sent away to military school ever since I was 8 years old. I had some issues when I was going up. My mother started threatening me when I was 8, and I'd be like, Mommy, I know I'm gonna work harder. And when I was 9, she started giving me brochures. When I was 10, 11, 12, my behavior kept on getting worse. The first time, I felt handcuffs on my wrist when I was 11 years old. And finally, when I was 13 years old, my mother came up to me. She's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to send you away to this military school. And I said, Mommy, I know I'm going to work harder. And she's like, nah, you're going next week. I saw she wasn't playing. But that wasn't because the decision was easy. And it wasn't because the decision was cheap. My mother's not one to make threats and not back them up. The reason she was making threats at 8 and it took until 13 wasn't because she wasn't serious, it's because she couldn't afford it. And eventually, when she started writing to friends and asking them for support, it was my grandparents who had a small home in the Bronx. My grandfather was a minister, my grandmother was a school teacher for close to 40 years. And they bought a small home in the Bronx after they immigrated to this country, with an idea of saying it's not just about owning something over their head, but they wanted to own a piece of this country. And they ended up mortgaging their home and taking money out so my mother could have what she needed in order to send me to this school for the first year. They sacrificed a piece of their American dream so I might have a chance to build my own. And had it not been for the prospect of homeownership, that would not have been real. Work, wages, wealth. This is our opportunity in this moment to be able to create pathways for new dreams, for new hopes, and knowing that the success for each and every Marylander is not success because of kindness or benevolence, not because of a social experiment. It's because it's a promise that this state is going to make good on. We are so thankful for today. We are so thankful for each and every one of you. We are thankful for the Biden-Harris administration, because we could not have better partners in this work. And we are so thankful that when we say this is going to be Maryland's decade, we mean exactly that. It is our time. So God bless you all, and I'm excited to